Abby Johnson, it's such an honor to have you on American Thought Leaders.
Thank you.
You know, in some ways, and I know the film is really stylized, but I kind of feel like I know you a little bit. I interviewed Ashley Bratcher at CPAC. She talked about how incredible it was basically getting into that role, working with you and so forth. And then of course I watched the film, which actually really moved me deeply. It's great to have you here. What message are you bringing today to Western Conservative Summit?
I think that a lot of times there's so many conservative issues that we talk about that interest us, and I think a lot of times people look at abortion and especially in states like Colorado that are more liberal, where abortion is allowed up until the date of birth, and we see these barbaric laws being passed in New York and Vermont, these other places, and I think it's easy for us to say, well, what can we do? Like abortion, it just seems to be an issue that's settled here, and what can we really do? And so I always try to give sort of a pep talk to conservatives that this is a fundamental issue for us. Life is a fundamental issue. It is the primary issue. If we don't have life, then HUD housing doesn't matter. All these other issues don't matter. And so really just encouraging and helping to empower conservatives to pick up that torch and to not feel weary and to get uncomfortable and to really live out their pro-life convictions.
Oh, that's a powerful message. Are you finding that a lot of people are still kind of basically staying quiet? When you're out and you're going out into communities all the time, are you meeting these people that have been quiet, and are you changing people's minds?
I think the one thing that's been really a blessing about these crazy late-term abortion laws is that it has spurred people to action. So, before, I've been traveling around for 10 years now, sharing my story and encouraging people in the pro-life fight. And I would go and talk, and it was sort of like, okay, well, I'm going to write a check, and that's going to be my pro-life contribution, right? I think abortion was something that was sort of out of sight, out of mind for a lot of people, even people who said they were pro-life. Now, the one blessing about this is that it's really brought abortion to the forefront, and it's made people face this ugliness that's in our society. And now people feel very motivated. They want to get involved, and they need encouragement and ideas of what to do. What can I do? How can I get involved? And so I'm seeing less and less of the apathetic pro-lifer and more people really on fire and wanting to get involved.
Some of these laws are truly astounding that allow, basically abortion almost to term in some cases. Why do you think it's now that this stuff is coming to the forefront? Because from what I understand, there were a number of states that had laws that basically had the same thing. I think New Mexico was one of them, just off the top of my head.
Yeah.
Why is it that this is now in the public spotlight the way that it is?
So I think this is 100% a reactionary move by Democrats. So I think that they are realizing that a day may be coming very soon where Roe v. Wade is threatened, and it will be put back to the states. Right. The abortion issue will be thrown back to the states. And so the response to that is, okay, we see this like impending doom coming our way. Roe v. Wade is now no longer going to be the law of the land. So now we really need to get these laws in place at the state level. But I think what's happened is they have swung that pendulum so far to the left that they have lost support from their own constituents and from their own supporters. There's a lot of people, Democrats and pro-choicers, who are looking at what's happening and saying, whoa, that's too far. I don't want to support that. So I think it's actually in a way, I mean, I feel like God's been able to take something good from it.
Very interesting. So, often I ask people about what inspired them, but I've seen the Unplanned film, and I know that you endorsed it, so I kind of have an idea.
Yeah.
And as actually do a lot of people. It was incredible how widely it opened, given the controversial nature of the topic,
Sure.
and so forth. But there's one thing that I am curious about, because it's not really shown in the film. You go to court, it's a quick case, you win, but there's something that takes you from basically from there to going out and being on the road for 10 years and talking to people. And what is it that happened in that time? Or was it just like, it's obvious, I got to run?
It happened very quickly, and it was honestly because of Planned Parenthood and their media team. They sent a press release to the AP talking about the court case. When that hit the AP, it was on Drudge, and I started getting phone calls from Fox News and CNN and these other media outlets asking if I would talk about why I left the clinic and why Planned Parenthood felt it was necessary to shut me up, to take me to court. What was it that they didn't want people to know? And so we had made the decision, my attorney had said, look, we probably shouldn't do any media until after the court case. Let's figure out what's going to happen, how this is going to play out. And so I went to court, and then 2 days later was my first appearance on Fox News, talking about what had happened. So it was truly because of Planned Parenthood and their media misstep that caused me to have the platform that I do today.
And you just felt, I've got it, got to use it.
I did. I felt like, I've got this story, and for whatever reason, I've been given this platform to share it. I didn't think I'd be doing it 10 years later, honestly, but things they've just kept happening. And, I wrote the book, and I wrote Unplanned, and I thought, well, okay, that's it. I wrote a book, that's, it. And people continued to want to hear what I had to say. And I started the organization, and then there were none, started getting abortion clinic workers out of the industry. They wanted to start talking, so that kept the interest going. I wrote my second book, and then got a call from film directors asking about the movies. So, I thought it would just sort of be a quick, here's my story, and now I'm going to go do whatever I'm going to do for work. But this has really turned out to be a calling. My career has turned out to be a calling, and I love it.
Incredible. So, obviously from an expert's perspective, into the last 10 years, how have things changed on abortion? If you could give us kind of a quick synopsis, because you've been watching it closely. From then to now, you mentioned how, people have been, maybe some pro-choice folks and so forth, have been kind of shocked by the extremeness of these new laws. Aside from that, how has the consciousness of the nation shifted, and how has the legal situation shifted?
Honestly, I feel like there is more media discussion surrounding the abortion issue now than there was 10 years ago. I think one of the reasons for that is that started happening, I think, when Trump was running for president, because he was bringing it up in debates. It was coming up. And so I think that sort of rose the level of consciousness, across the country, people saying, oh, maybe we do need to learn more about abortion. Maybe we do need to learn what's really happening in these clinics. So I feel like it sort of started there, and it's really just been snowballing. Now I think people feel almost emboldened and empowered at the state level to get laws passed, we see heartbeat bills popping up all across our country. I'm not sure that would have happened if Trump hadn't have been elected. I think there was just sort of this, I had 8 years of Obama, and I think people felt really discouraged. Like, what what are we doing? Is this even going to make any difference? He's, ramming through more money for Planned Parenthood. He's appointing pro-choice judges. I mean, what good is happening here? So I feel like there was sort of just feeling of defeat. And I think conservatives really felt emboldened after Trump was elected, and they said, look, now we have the President of the United States on our side, and we have, pro-life cabinet, we have a pro-life administration. He's putting pro-life judges in place. Like, let's do something. Let's actually sink our teeth into this and let's make some difference at the state level. I think there's more and more people who are joining the pro-life movement. Clearly, we've had so many scientific advancements, even just in the past 10 years. 10 years ago, a baby, that was born, before 28 weeks probably wouldn't have survived. Now we've got babies being born at 22 weeks that are surviving. So science has advanced tremendously, even in that 10-year time period. I think more people are just waking up to the reality of abortion.
Powerful place to end. Abby Johnson, thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.